Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom. Francis Bacon. Listen to silence. It has so much to say. Rumi. The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. Rumi. There was a brief silence. I think I heard snow falling. Eric Segal. All men's miseries derive from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone. Blaise Pascal. Saying nothing sometimes says the most. Emily Dickinson. It is better in prayer to have a heart without words than words without a heart. Mahatma Gandhi. When you have nothing to say nothing. Charles Caleb Colton. A fool is known by his speech, and a wise man by silence. Pythagoras. The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind. Albert Einstein. In the silence behind what can be heard lies the answers we have been searching for so long. Andreas Franzen. Speech is silver, silence is golden. Thomas Carlyle. The good and the wise lead quiet lives. Euripides. Silence is a source of great strength. Lao Tzu. Inner silence is the mother of all talents. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. I, schooled in misery, know many purifying rites, and I know where speech is proper and where silence. Aeschylus. The closer you are to the truth, the more silent you become inside. Naval Ravikant. Noise creates illusions. Silence brings truth. Maxime Lagacé. In human intercourse, the tragedy begins, not when there is misunderstanding about words, but when silence is not understood. Henry David Thoreau. I think 99 times and find nothing. I stop thinking, swim in silence, and the truth comes to me. Albert Einstein. Be silent if you choose, but when it is necessary, speak, and speak in such a way that people will remember it. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. I've begun to realize that you can listen to silence and learn from it. It has a quality and a dimension all its own. Chaim Potok. Silence is true wisdom's best reply. Euripides. The more you understand silence, that's where the balance comes. Rick Rubin. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence, and I learn whatever state I am in, therein to be content. Helen Keller. Silence is so freaking loud. Sarah Dessen. There is something terribly wrong with a culture inebriated by noise and gregariousness. George Steiner. The things that we understand create silence. The things that we do not create emotion. Kapil Gupta. If there were a little more silence, if we all kept quiet, maybe we could understand something. Federico Fellini. Silence is sometimes the best answer. Dalai Lama. I think the first virtue is to restrain the tongue. He approaches nearest to gods who knows how to be silent even though he is in the right. Cato the Elder. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. Carl Jung. Don't waste words on people deserve your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Mandy Hale. In silence there is eloquence. Stop weaving and see how the pattern improves. Rumi. Now all my teachers are dead except silence. W.S. Merwin. Talk, talk, talk. The utter and heartbreaking stupidity of words. William Faulkner. Keep silence for the most part and speak only when you must, and then briefly. Epictetus. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. Confucius. Time and silence are the most luxurious things today. Tom Ford. As far as I'm concerned, I prefer silent vice to ostentatious virtue. Albert Einstein. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Martin Luther King Jr. Silence is the wit of fools, Anatole France. Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. Leonardo da Vinci. Without great solitude, no serious work is possible. Pablo Picasso. Speak only if it improves upon the silence. Mahatma Gandhi. Silence is more eloquent than words. Thomas Carlyle. I often regret that I have spoken, never that I have been silent. Publilius Cyrus. The right word may be effective, but no word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. Mark Twain. Stillness benefits more than action. Silence benefits more than words. Lao Tzu. As we must account for every idle word, so must we account for every idle silence. Benjamin Franklin. Silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. Muhammad Ali. It is not easy to keep silent when silence is a lie. Victor Hugo. You have a grand gift for silence, Watson. It makes you quite invaluable as a companion. Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. Talk doesn't cook rice. Chinese proverb. Let us be silent, that we may hear the whispers of the gods. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Silence is the element in which great things fashion themselves together. Thomas Carlyle. A sage thing is timely silence, and better than any speech. Plutarch. Be silent or let thy words be worth more than silence. Pythagoras. We need silence to be able to touch souls. Mother Teresa. The best cure for the body is a quiet mind. Napoleon Bonaparte. Silence, healing. Heraclitus. I have found nothing better than silence in this world. If a word costs 1 coin, then silence costs 2. The Talmud. What's quiet is more powerful than you think. Maxime Lagacé. Silence is more musical than any song. Christina Rossetti. Do not underestimate the determination of a quiet man. Ian Duncan Smith. The quiet mind is richer than a crown. Robert Greene's Speech is of time. Silence is of eternity. Thomas Carlyle. Noise, a stench in the ear. Ambrose Bierce. Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Alan Watts. Silence is the mother of truth. Benjamin Disraeli. To hear, one must be silent. Ursula K. Le Guin. Silence is safer than speech. Epictetus. That quiet is so rare is a sign of its value. Seize it. We can't be afraid of silence as it has much to teach us. Seek it. Ryan Holiday. Sound is our mind. Silence is our being. Osho. He who does not understand your silence will probably not understand your words. Elbert Hubbard. Listening to the eternal involves a silence within us. Thomas Raymond Kelly. Silence is therapeutic. Nurture your soul in solitude. Yogi Ramdas. Source. By silence, I hear other men's imperfections and conceal my own. Zeno. Silence and meditation makes room for the inner voice to speak. Lex Fridman. Source. Silence is interesting. It can show confusion, indifference, and sadness. But it can also show determination, confidence, and caring. Maxime Lagacé. Some of the greatest battles will be fought within the silent chambers of your own soul. Ezra Taft Benson. The hardest and most important battle you'll deliver is when you'll be alone. Will you follow the crowds or will you follow that little voice inside yourself? Maxime Lagacé. Within each of us, there is silence. A silence as vast as the universe. And when we experience that silence, we remember who we are. Gunilla Norris. Silence gives answers. Rumi. Silence is the eternal duty of man. Thomas Carlyle. I need to be alone. I need to ponder my shame and my despair in seclusion. I need the sunshine and the paving stones of the streets without companions, without conversation, face to face with myself, with only the music of my heart for company. Henry Miller. You can hear the footsteps of God when silence reigns in the mind. Satya Sai Baba. Silence is an empty space. Space is the home of the awakened mind. Buddha. Speaking comes by nature, silence by understanding. German proverb. If you're asked, what is the silence? Respond, it is the first stone of the wisdom's temple. Pythagoras. Silence is only frightening to people who are compulsively verbalizing. William S. Burroughs. Silence gives us space to process our experiences and soak in our surroundings. Kati van den Breuil. Silence quotes attain peace. Self-understanding. Maxime Lagasse. Wisdom. Attain peace with self-understanding. Attain self-understanding with silence. Maxime Lagasse. The world would be happier if men had the same capacity to be silent that they have to speak. Baruch Spinoza. It seems only the old are able to sit next to one another and not say anything and still feel content. The young, brash, and impatient must always break the silence. It is a waste, for silence is pure. Nicholas Sparks. One must learn to be silent just as one must learn to talk. Virginia Woolf. Silence is foolish if we are wise, but wise if we are foolish. Charles Caleb Colton. I like the silent church before the service begins, better than any preaching. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The wiser you become, the more comfortable you are with silence. Maxime Lagasse. We've known about the transcendent power of solitude for centuries. It's only recently that we've forgotten it. Susan Cain. Do you want to change the world? Then change yourself first. Do you want to change yourself? Then remain completely silent inside the silent sea. Sri Chinmoy. The best answer to anger is silence. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. How ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart. Confine yourself to the present. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it. How trivial the things we want so passionately are. Settle on the type of person you want to be and stick to it whether alone or in company. Consider at what price you sell your integrity, but please, for God's sake, don't sell it cheap. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Ignorance is the cause of fear. While we wait for life, life passes. Life is long if you know how to use it. Hurry up and live. Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear. You can commit injustice by doing nothing. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Each day provides its own gifts. Give yourself a gift, the present moment. The only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. Have I been made for this, to lie under the blankets and keep myself warm? Conceal a flaw, and the world will imagine the worst. Life is neither good or evil, but only a place for good and evil. Wealth is the slave of a wise man and the master of a fool. Only time can heal what reason cannot. Stoic. While we are postponing, life speeds by. Life, if well lived, is long enough. Hang on to your youthful enthusiasms. You will be able to use them better when you are older. He who is brave is free. It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness. It is more civilized to make fun of life than to bewail it. Difficulty comes from our lack of confidence. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. What really ruins our character is the fact that none of us looks back over his life. Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wise as false, and by rulers as useful. It does not matter how many books you have, but how good are the books which you have. When a person spends all his time in foreign travel, he ends by having many acquaintances, but no friends. For many men, the acquisition of wealth does not end their troubles. It only changes them. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Epictetus quotes, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. No man is free who is not master of himself." Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. It is difficulties that show what men are. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. A ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. No great thing is created suddenly. Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. It is the nature of the wise to resist pleasures, but the foolish to be a slave to them. First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. If you want something good, get it yourself. All the good are friends of one another. No loss should be more regrettable to us than losing our time, for it's irretrievable. Extravagance is its own destroyer. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Steel your sensibilities so that life shall hurt you as little as possible. Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. A bad feeling is a commotion of the mind, repugnant to reason and against nature. We begin to lose our hesitation to do immoral things when we lose our hesitation to speak of them. Humanity must seek what is not simple and obvious, using the simple and obvious. Since every man dies, it is better to die with distinction than to live long. Only by exhibiting actions in harmony with the sound words which he has received will anyone be helped by philosophy. Thus, whoever destroys human marriage destroys the home, the city, the whole human race. Diogenes quotes, Diogenes 300 AD was mostly known as a biographer for some of the more famous philosophers outlined above, and much of his life remains a mystery. He had a controversial reputation among scholars for repeating things and perhaps focusing on the wrong part of certain teachings. But since he wasn't reinterpreting those teachings, his accounts are some of the most reliable we have. He with the most who is content with the least. The foundation of every state is the education of its youth. Blushing is the color of virtue. Dogs and philosophers do the greatest good and get the fewest rewards. I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Marcus Aurelius. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Marcus Aurelius. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question. What fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? Marcus Aurelius. If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. It is the person who continues in his self-deception and ignorance who is harmed. Marcus Aurelius. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. Marcus Aurelius. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Marcus Aurelius. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood and birth, but the same mind and possessing a share of the divine. And so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are unnatural. Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius. Reject. Your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears. Marcus Aurelius. Live a good life. If there are gods, and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. If there are gods but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, then you will be gone, but will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones. Marcus Aurelius. When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety, that they should hold any particular opinion about you. Marcus Aurelius.